we are, dude.
We're rolling.
Gorgeous September day.
Yes, yes it is. Definitely is.
Oh, well, I'm here with Chad Keel from Nature Reconnection Primitive Skills School. And he is just taking me on a freaking awesome day around the forest around here, making a fire from a hand drill, just learning about the different trees and stuff. It's been super, super cool. But yeah, this is the 7th episode of the Adapt and Thrive series, which is all about how people in the creative, educational, and healing fields have adapted their work to the times of COVID, so that not only they could thrive in their own lives and what they do, but also so they could serve their communities better in this crazy time that we're all in. And I think one thing that COVID has really highlighted for us is that we all need some more nature reconnection.
I've noticed that a lot more people have kind of reached out to me, or maybe even taken notice in what I do since COVID. I've had just a phenomenal amount, an increase. I've had a big increase in just people reaching out to me saying, hey, I need to learn these skills. I need to learn friction fire. Come here, buddy. Come here. I need to learn these things. Sit. And yeah, it's awesome to see people turning towards nature. I don't care what prompted it. I just like that it happens, and I like people that turn towards nature. Ultimately.
Yeah, so. For sure. Yeah, and you're there to be that guide for them. So yeah, before we get too far into that, man, I'm learning about all these things that you do and these worlds that you're in, other than just the primitive skills school. So you give us maybe a quick rundown of just the stuff that you do.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, my name's Chad. Like Matt already mentioned to you guys. I live in a small mountain town. We're here at my house right now, up in the mountains, and it's truly one of the last wilderness areas in Southern California. Most of them have been developed, by developers and things like that, and Southern California has a lot of history. So with gold mining and everything like that. But a lot of people that live out here truly do have like a pioneer spirit in California, because we are the ancestors of the pioneers who forged their way out west in search of a better life. And that type of spirit and energy still comes, forth to...
That's at the root of the weirdness.
Yeah, there's the root of that weirdness, right? So
that's what's up.
I teach Nature Reconnection, which is just outdoor survival skills. We talked a little bit about the difference between bushcraft and primitive skills. I focus a little bit more on indigenous skills, more so than modern technology or modern survival with gear and everything like that, logistics. I also own a martial arts school. I've been doing martial arts like prolifically for about the last 10 years. And then I own a restaurant, and it's a plant-based restaurant, and I just try to service people that are like active, and more health oriented. That's really me, is just servicing people who are into the same things I'm into, and just helping other people just tap into a more simplistic way of life. That's Chad Keel, I guess.
Yeah, and being the conduit into experiencing that for themselves.
Maybe, yeah. I try to, because I realize that really it's not me who's really doing any of this stuff, it's really nature. So I've always just kind of looked at myself as just someone that's like pointing towards, like, if you're before MapQuest, you're driving somewhere and you're like, hey, look for that dude with the hat that's like pointing that way, and then to make a right there. I'm kind of that guy that's just like pointing you towards the woods, or pointing you, because I know that if I get people out there, there's a sort of remembering that happens more than me teaching them. And that's why it's Nature Reconnection, because I do feel like you already have the skills, the knowledge. I'm just in a way helping reconnect that. So it's not me in any way. I've never felt like I had something that other people needed to come to me to learn. If anything, it just goes straight through me. I'm translucent.
Yeah, no, I love that, man, because it's like, we've touched on service at several points throughout the day, and this, like, as I'm learning and going through my journey, it's like a huge element of service is like taking the I and the desired manipulations out of you know, what you're going to get from your actions. And serving as the guide just to point people in that way is like a beautiful way of serving their own remembering process.
There you
know,
go.
Which
Yes.
is dope, man.
Yes.
So I feel like I have a decent understanding of like, you know, what you're doing pre-COVID, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So, you know, a big moment for all of us was, you know, when COVID started becoming a thing and things started changing, you know, how did that land on you? Like, what was your experience when all that stuff started going down?
It's an interesting story right there in itself. When COVID hit, I had my martial arts school for about 2 years, and I just made the decision to open a restaurant.
Yeah.
Probably 2 or 3 months before COVID happened, I opened a restaurant, and then all restaurants shut down in California. And I knew getting in and following my dreams to open a restaurant that I probably wasn't going to see profits for about 1 to 3 years.
Right. It's just the way it goes.
80% of all restaurants fail within the first year. And then COVID happened to me.
Right.
So there was a lot of stress and anxiety of not understanding what was going to happen. But there was a lot of, again, just doing what I can every single day, doing the most I can every single day, and then that surrendering to just the faith that the universe was going to work it out and make it okay, which it did. We quickly converted to takeout, like most restaurants did in Southern California, and you know, now we're coming up almost on like a year anniversary for Bigfoot Bowls, and I feel like that's the name of my restaurant, Bigfoot Bowls, and I feel like we came through the pandemic together, us and the customers, you know, in this first year. And I feel like we have the most loyal customer base now from getting through that. Another thing is my martial arts school was closed for still is technically closed.
Yeah.
So it's been about 6 months of not being able to have that income.
Yeah.
So for about 2 weeks after COVID happened, there was like a panic of not knowing what I was going to do, having like 2 businesses open that I didn't know how I was going to produce revenue to pay for them, rent, you know, stuff like that.
because no one's getting breaks on the operating expenses of rent and, you know.
No, but I just surrendered, did what I could every day. Definitely wasn't just sitting around idle doing nothing.
Yeah.
I was doing everything I possibly could every single day, and it all worked out.
So what does that process look like for you, man? Because like, you know, this surrender is another concept that I've been pondering a lot lately. And, you know, it doesn't mean inaction, as you said.
No.
Like it means, yes, showing up and like doing everything that you can. But that process of surrendering and knowing that, okay, I can't operate as usual. What did that process look like for you?
So, yeah, it can't operate as usual, but you still operate. You surrender control. A lot of times as humans, we need to know how it's going to go before we're going to step in and do it. Like we want to know all the details. Who's going to be there? How's it going to go?
Right.
When will I get lunch? When will I have a break?
Yeah.
You know, when will this happen? When will this happen? Who's taking me? Who's picking me up? You need to know all the details before you make a move. And sometimes what we need to do is say, I don't have all that information, but I need to just surrender and just know that I'm going to do whatever is needed of me. And I'm going to make every action possible for every opportunity, for every door that opens.
Yeah.
I will full-fledged go through that door. That's surrendering to me. And like I said, there's action built into that surrender. It's just that I don't know all the circumstances. I don't have all the data. I don't have all the information.
Yeah.
But I'm confident in myself and my body and who I am that I'll be able to get through those based off my training, my knowledge, my experience. That's the surrender. It's like, it's just going to come at me and I'm just ready. This happens a lot of times in martial arts. We'll have 2 people stand in front of each other and one person's just sitting there defensive and one person's going to do something offensive. You don't know if it's left hand, right hand, left foot, right foot, and you need to make the proper reaction. That's it. It's surrendering to, I'm not going to make any move. I'm just going to watch, see, and then when it happens, the move is going to come because I've done so much training. I've had this much experience. It's not going to let me down.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can explain it.
So like letting go of fear of needing security, having faith in yourself that you will be able to figure it out and get through it and show up every day to that process.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super powerful.
Stop
man.
racing other people. Like I do race. I'm a competitive person, but I compete with the sun. I get up before the sun. So hopefully I could, spread some light on other people before the sun can. And I work until that lazy sun goes beyond the mountain, and I'm still working. So while other people are racing and trying to compete with other people, I'm competing with the star and I'm kicking its ass, man. Because I get up before it does. I work when it goes beyond the mountain, and I'm illuminating other people before it has a chance to.
Yeah.
And that's my goal. I'm competing on a star level, and everyone's trying to like compete with one another.
Right.
That's a difference in some people. You know what I mean? Is they stop just competing with one another, and they just start being the best versions of themselves by comparing themselves to something they could never possibly be, a star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to look for how can I beat that damn star? You know what I mean? And that's probably my sensei's doing. He probably has a thing, but still, that's something that I strive for every day.
Yeah, nice. So
good tea.
It's delicious, man. It's great. So with that approach and like centering in on that approach to deal with the challenges that COVID brought, what did you find yourself doing, like in terms of the nitty gritty stuff to keep your businesses rolling? You mentioned with Bigfoot Bowls, you went to delivery or you went to
we
takeout.
did do delivery. I didn't say that, but we did.
Yeah, you went to takeout, so you still kept it going instead of closing. For Jujitsu and the Nature Reconnection School, what did you find yourself? What new things did you find yourself exploring to keep stuff
Good
going?
question. So we had about 500 classes listed online before COVID, because COVID hit us, mid-March. Prior to that, I had just released about all my classes for the full year. And there was literally, because some had multiple classes on a day, there was about 500 courses that we'd put up, and we had to take them all offline. I had to shut down Jujitsu. Jujitsu still shut down for kids.
Yeah.
And it's, we don't want to take the risk. We want to do our best as a community. So what did I do? I didn't sit around and wait for the government. I didn't sit around and wait for the state. I didn't sit around and wait for any sort of money. I think a bird just kind of on me. Just landed on my thing. I immediately just started going to work and doing other things. So I fall back onto computer networking and design and social media and stuff of that nature. I have a bachelor's in computer networking and design.
Oh, wow.
So
Very unexpected, man.
I know, being an outdoors person, and we can get into that, why I went with that career. I have a very good reasoning. But anyways, I fell back into that. I got really involved with a group called the Red Brennan Group, it's a nonprofit, but we also dabble in politics, and we have some really big measures that are going to change the county of San Bernardino, where we are. So one of them is repealing an illegal tax that was placed on all our property. And then another one is cutting the Board of Supervisors compensation from $250,000 a year down to $60,000 a year. So I got really involved with these two campaigns.
Yeah.
And these two campaigns led me to realize that, hey, I like helping and making a difference locally. So I started running for my local community service district, which is like our city council for this small unincorporated town.
Yeah.
So through COVID, I found even a deeper love for servicing the community, standing up to corruption and standing up to illegal activity from corrupt politicians.
Nice.
And just trying to create like a better environment for the county. And then I realized, you know what? I want to do this for my own town on a bigger level. So now I'm running for the city council, essentially. And you helped me put up some signs today, man.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, man, did COVID destroy you or did it build you? To me, in my story, it built me. It flourished something new that I didn't know about. I'm very bipartisan. I'm not political at all. I've never liked politics, and now I'm essentially starting a career in politics.
Yeah.
So it's through COVID. So crazy, man.
And it wasn't through a desire to be a politician and all the whatever that comes with that. It's like COVID gave you an opening to serve your people more. Yeah. And you saw that as a good way for you to go and are going after it now.
Yeah, and it's just so amazing. And like I said, some people could have looked at COVID as like an unfortunate circumstance. And I've seen a lot of people break down under the pressure of COVID. I tried to be a pillar during COVID. I tried to be a strong pillar for other people to lean on during COVID. And then when I saw, because I was being a strong pillar, and I saw these other these openings that happened, you know, these small little windows of opening, I threaded through them. And then through the other side was a whole other opportunity. So again,
what allowed you to see those?
Again, the surrendering and the faith. If you're caught in the trying to keep control in an unfortunate circumstance or in an area you have no control, that's the chaos, and like that's the Maya, you know, that's the illusion. And you're not going to see the clear openings that a martial artist sees, and the timing and the rhythm of life. And it's not until you're completely surrendered and completely okay with death, completely okay with whatever's going to happen, because you know you're going to be able to work through it. And that's the only time you see those thin slices, shreds in the Maya, bro, where you thread that string through and you freaking follow through with it. But if you're caught up with like worrying about bills, worrying about pain, or worrying about fear and stuff like that, you will not see the opening and you will not thread through it. That's and I'm not, you know, I hate talking like this, it's like deep self-help stuff, because I still have a lot to figure out myself.
Yeah, we all do.
We all do, right? So
But
figuring it out.
What I'm sort of, I guess, getting at with my questions is like, you know, what practice in your life is allowing you to be this adaptable person, right? Because there's common threads at the root of all these different practices. You know, mindfulness, meditation, yoga, whatever it may be. And like, it seems like your practice that has taught you that sort of bigger perspective, stepping outside of the chaotic reactive mind, has come through the avenue of martial arts. So does like continuing to practice that kind of reinforce your connection with that, and that allows you to, you know, see those openings in life you talked about?
Definitely. 100% jujitsu, 100% discipline. Jujitsu is looking for those openings in a fight, in a spar, in a match with another person. Is you're basically, you're rolling and you're looking for these opportunities so that you can strike. Okay. And what happens when you first start martial arts is you learn about all these techniques, these strikes, and then when you're fighting someone, you see the opportunity, but what you'll find is you hesitated. Right. Or you're like 2 seconds behind and it just didn't work because the guy already moved a certain way. So more and more through martial arts, years of martial arts, you're just trying to just be an expression and not a thought. You know what I mean? Because if you think and then you try to express, you're already too late. The window is gone. Right. So more and more and more through martial arts, you're just training to just feel and express, just instantaneously express yourself. And then just have no thought, like, I don't hit, it hits. It's Bruce Lee, it's not me. You know what I mean? But it's just, it's so truth. I know exactly what he was talking about. It's the timing, right? To just, when you see it, when you notice it, and sometimes it's before that. Sometimes I'll see a movement, and I'm talking martial arts now, I'll see a movement, and I know that movement's going to lead them to this moment where the opening's going to happen. So the opening hasn't even happened yet. You anticipate. But I anticipate an opening, and I already start creating energy towards that thing that's not even there yet. That portal that hasn't even opened yet. And you start directing, like, you know, an attack that's going to go through that. So it's in the setup, it's in the strategy, right? So when I feel like when you're training so hard for that for like 8 to 10 years in martial arts to get your black belt in jiu-jitsu, that's what it takes, 8 to 10 years, that's gonna translate over into your life. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, it reminds me of in meditation where you get acquainted enough with how your mind runs around and the places that certain thoughts take you, and you identify the seed of a thought that's going to send you down a negative pattern, and you intervene then, and you make a conscious choice. Okay, I'm not going to put my energy to that thought, and you redirect. You know, I'm kind of drawing a loose parallel here. No, I understand. It's like, you through your practice and through consistency, you develop that ability to perceive ahead of time and not waste time and energy, and to just go. You know? And even even with like in meditation, coming back to kind of thinking in that realm, a lot of times when you start meditating, you know, you'll hear a sound or you'll hear your kids in the other room or something like that. And then you try to tune it out, you know, and really that's not what it's about, is not tuning it out. It's about accepting it, but not having any like attachment to the noise that came into it's part of the meditation.
Right.
It's being everything and nothing at one time. It's having all thoughts but one thought at one time. So it's okay that the mind wanders, but what are you attaching to while it's wandering?
Yeah.
That's what's messing it up. And it's okay to just wander and just like and do circles and twirl and hear this sound and hear that, but it's if there's no attachment, you're there. And that's truly what martial arts is about too. Is it's an active meditation where if you're thinking about the technique and you're trying to be in it and control it, again, trying to control what you hear and what you think about and everything, you're never going to do that. You'll always lose in the fight.
Yeah.
But when I'm there and I'm just like, he can do anything to me and I can do anything and I have no like connection to anything. I'm unattached to this fight, but I'm fighting. That's when you're the best. You're at the best state you could possibly be. It's like the body is just doing. It's not you.
Detached and fluid.
Yeah, it's like, who am I, this consciousness, to try to control a body in a fight when the body has been training for 8 to 10 years? Let it do what it's been training to do.
Yeah.
Don't let your mind try to interject. The training's there, the experience is there. The body knows what to do. Why are you using the mind? Be unattached. That's what it is. But then, so now someone with no martial arts training hears this, right? And they're just like, I'm just going to go into a fight and I'm going to be unattached, right? But you have no training, you have no experience to rely on. Yeah. So they circle in on each other.
Right.
You have to think, you have to have this experience.
In order to achieve that detached, fluid consciousness that can roll and adapt with complex circumstances, you have to show up to practice.
And yes, and in that practice,
and
you're
practice
thinking.
Is structured and intense, and application of energy. You know,
so it's all there, bro. It's so crazy. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
And sorry, we got way out there for your listeners.
But I felt like going with it was a good idea.
Bruce Lee would be proud of this interview, man.
So I feel like we now have a good understanding of what sort of allowed you to keep going during COVID times, and through all of these adaptations and figuring out how you could serve your community. I guess other than the political office things, like what sort of new openings are you seeing that will change the way that you've been operating since pre-COVID?
That's a great question. I've noticed really the way that I connect and communicate with people has changed because I'm very expressive with my body language and my facial expressions. And masks, they cover that.
Yeah.
So I'm noticing me being more expressive with my eyes than I've ever been before. So I'm looking people deeper into my eyes because I know they're not seeing my face, and I do things like I'm kind of like, I don't know, ironic and sarcastic sometimes, and and I let I'm joking with like little smiles and smirks and things that I do. But if you don't, and then I'm finding out I'm saying things to people and they're just like, what the hell's up with that guy? And it's because they didn't see the little smile, the little smirk. So the only thing that's really changing for me is like the way I'm connecting with people. I'm finding a way to be more communicative with like this part of my body, which is a skill that I've never used before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing things with my eyes to let you know.
Even more subtlety there.
Yeah, it's so true. You see, and so I'm looking in the eyes, and if I'm making a joke, I'm doing things with my eyes to let you know, like, hey, I'm just kind of joking there. Or, hey, we're being playful. Yeah. And I'm noticing when I'm putting that effort into doing it with my eyes, they're picking up on my personality still. Besides that, not too much adjustments. I'm going to keep my martial arts school pretty much closed down, especially for kids, until I get the green light to open.
Yeah.
I just want to do the best for my community, and because it's been such a political thing, COVID, and I just don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. I feel like I've done my part. I've held out for 6 months, and I'll hold out for however long I got to hold out.
Yeah.
And then Bigfoot Bowls has been doing great as a takeout restaurant. We have a very loyal subscribers, I guess you'd say, or customers who.
So if you're coming through Wrightwood, California, you know where to go eat.
Yeah, Bigfoot Bowls it's the best. Acai bowls, boba tea, breakfast burritos. That's it. Nothing else.
Nice.
Just the essentials.
Well, I love what you said about the changing the subtlety of expression, because like one thing that I'm finding is super important right now is like, as I travel and just anytime I'm out in public, I want to be sending good energy to people wherever I go and creating positive connection rather than, because we're in a time of primarily divisiveness, right? And if the ways that you communicate that now, because of the masks and because of heightened tension stuff, might be a little more subtle.
Yeah.
So it just gives you something else to explore. How can I communicate kindness to somebody with, just the way that I'm looking at them, or the way my body language is, or something like that.
Exactly.
I think little things like that I've found have made moving through the world so much more harmonious for me.
Yeah.
I feel like at a younger age, like I somehow developed this mentality that I was like an intruder in the world. I don't really know where that came from. But once I started becoming aware of it and seeing how the world was responding to me, I was like, I need to change this. I need to change what I'm putting out there. And so little things like that, just how we're communicating with our eyes to people, can make a huge difference in that way.
It does. And a lot of it is, I normally wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
And I see you wear sunglasses too.
Our
right?
sun's down
So
now.
normally, but normally, my eyes are normally completely covered if you see the type of sunglasses I wear, right? So
It's dusty out here.
I'm not expressing a lot through my eyes because my eyes are always covered. I wear
Right.
sunglasses a lot. I have light colored eyes.
Yeah.
So I do, because my eyes are I was always using this part of my face. And now it's just, it's like the universe is like, hey, now you got to use the top part of your face. Cover this part. Now use this part. So it's crazy. So sometimes I'll walk into places and I'll have my mask on, I'll have a hat on, and I'll have my glasses on. And I'm just like, I'm talking to people and I'm wondering what's going on. And then I'll take my glasses off because I'm like, man, they can't see any part of my face.
Your whole identity's concealed.
My whole identity. And I'm doing crazy stuff with my hands, and it's just like they cannot read me.
Right.
So I'll take these off so at least they see my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll just try to let them know, and look deep. And most of it's listening. I mean, I talk about all like talking, but really listening too is like looking deep into people's eyes, kind of like squinting when they say something deeper, and letting them know, because you don't see that bottom part of your face, that you're listening, you hear them, it meant something, right? And that's another thing that I've been really working on the last 3 months, actually, is being a better listener, letting people talk and communicate to me, because I felt for a long time that, I don't know if I felt this way, but I was definitely always leading conversations. And it got to a point where I felt bad for people who were around me, because just great people that I love and respect, but I feel like I'm always talking, and I'm always kind of seem like I'm leading the conversation, or maybe like talking about myself and my experiences. And now I'm just kind of like more or less trying to get people to talk, and I'm trying to just ask questions and just sit there and just listen.
Yeah.
Because I talk too much.
Which I feel like, would feed directly into having you level up as a guide for people. Because when we really develop that ability to deeply listen, then we learn more about what direction we may need to point for those people that are showing up that we're to serve, to guide them.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying earlier, there's lots of paths to the top of the mountain, but you don't want to point someone down the wrong path.
Right.
Even though it'll get them to the top, it might be the experiences they just do not need.
Yeah, for sure.
Some rivers they don't need to cross, some cliffs they don't need to free climb.
Yeah.
They needed the ropes, they needed everything else, and you should have sent them, but if you would have listened. I completely agree, bro. And I have a lot of positive male mentorship in my life. One of them is a youth pastor. His name is Randolph. Best listener ever. Best listener. I talk to him, and then he repeats like my main points back to me after I finish talking. He goes, so you feel this way, and you feel this way.
Reflective
Yeah,
listening.
yes, and I go, yeah, that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
Would it be safe to assume if you felt this way that maybe you feel or think like this?
Yeah.
And I go, oh yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
You know,
and he asks you.
Yeah, and then, he asks me, and then like he reaffirms, and he helps me articulate my brain. Like I'll explain something to him, he'll repeat things back to me, and then, is it safe to say that this and that? Yeah, definitely. And dude, the way he communicates, it made me I want to be a better communicator. Like I already thought, like I'm great at talking to people, man. Like I'm great at sales. I'm great at like talking to people. But when I talk to this guy, I'm just like, I feel like an ignorant person because he's just such a deep listener, and his conversations, like he'll say, I had a question regarding what you said, and he'll maybe like ask a question, and then you'll answer it a certain way, and then he'll reflect on everything that you said, and then he'll circle back to his question and then say, well, you didn't really address the question that I asked. I asked it like this. I don't know. The way that he structures conversations is so professional and diplomatic, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. And
I want to be a better communicator. I don't want to like always have conversations and get lost out in the weeds and not really like stay focused on the conversation. If that makes sense.
Totally.
Because I do that a lot.
Right.
I'll be talking on one subject, and then like something else will come into my brain, and I'll lead the person I'm talking to on this whole other thing that maybe they didn't even ask about.
Yeah.
And maybe I felt like I need to explain it, but this person didn't ask that.
Yeah. Well, to kind of like funnel that back to, the original question is like, I feel like one of these ways that you're adapting right now is developing these deeper listening skills.
Yeah.
And man, I feel like that is just such an essential thing right now for like the divisive times that we live in. I mean, presidential debate, was there any listening going on?
Absolutely not.
Look at like two people that are coming from opposing sides of political viewpoints. Is there any listening going on? And like the only way we're going to be able to bridge gaps with people who have completely opposing viewpoints from our own is if we have some sort of ability to reflectively listen, no matter how much their beliefs are going against our own, So I think just what you shared, man, is a great reminder for us all to be working on that right now.
And I think it's a responsibility as leaders to become better listeners, because I may have like a natural ability to lead and be a confident person, but can I listen to people? And that's what that's been a weakness. Another one of my problems has been overconfidence. And finding, because I know that you need to be confident to get places in life.
Right.
But where do you cross the line into like overconfidence? Yeah.
I'm sure nature smacks you around a little when you get overconfident.
Oh yes, she does, and she loves humbling Coach Chad. So I've just been working on those things. Like, I feel that I'm a leader. I know people look to me, but then it can't just be me talking about myself. I need to listen to them and learn from them, and that's just been my biggest thing. Or I guess it's really been over even like the last year, is just like even another level of humbling myself. I feel like I go every couple years, bro, just a deep humbling, a deep just like kick down. I was born just way too overconfident. And I've just been slowly like just being more humble every year. So I'm like on this like going down in my confidence, but it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
And I mean, props to you for just seeing that, and because that's something that is gonna make you just exponentially more effective in the role that you're in.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm seeing. I'm feeling. I'm hoping. I know this is something I need to fix to become into a position where I can help more people. That's essentially what it is.
Nice, man. I mean? Yeah. Well, I think that's a good point to wrap it up, man. We got to get to jujitsu, right?
We got to get to jujitsu, adult jujitsu.
Adult jujitsu. Yeah. So, just we can conclude, man, by if you just want to let people, if they want to access your work, if you've got stuff on YouTube, if they want to, maybe come out for doing some of your courses, what's the best place for folks to find you?
Well, just keep it simple. Find me on Instagram at Mr. Chad Keel or at Mr. Chad Keel, whatever sounds better to you. Or you can just go to naturereconnectionclass.com. Heading to Pakistan here in November if you want to head with me. That's a great trip. This will be our 3rd year of taking international students to Pakistan to learn survival in some of the highest mountains in the world and some of the most untapped wilderness areas on planet Earth. So if you're looking for that type of experience, you can definitely join me late November, early December.
Cool.
But besides that, yeah, man, there's nature around you. Get outside and don't feel like you can't figure it out yourself. Really, it's just get outside, surrender, tap into your local wilderness areas, be respectful, be resourceful, be sustainable, and really at the end of the day, be a great steward to your local wilderness area, and Mother Nature will just pour knowledge and support into your life. That's all I can say.
Love that, man. Great way to wrap it up.
All right, brother.
Well, dude, thanks for your time today, man, and just leading me through this experience. It's been a freaking great day.
Thank you, man.